Have you ever really thought about why some things just grab you? Like why one product out of 1,000 practically leaps into your shopping cart, or why you can remember one specific ad you saw last week but forget hundreds of others? Well, today we're going to dig into the one simple rule that explains it all, the super powerful link between attention and intention.
So to get us started, I want you to just picture a scene we've all been in a million times. You're walking through a grocery store, you're pushing a cart. Let's just call this the shopping cart test.
I mean, really think about it. You are surrounded by thousands, literally thousands of products. All these different boxes and bags and bottles, all screaming for your attention. And yet, what do? We walk past almost all of them without a second glance. We're just on complete autopilot, right? It's because most of those products never, ever earn our attention. And you gotta understand, attention is the gateway. It's that one tiny moment when something, a color, a word, a design, breaks through that autopilot and actually makes a connection. Without getting through that gateway, a product has zero chance of you even thinking about buying it. It might as well be completely invisible.
Okay, so now let's take that same idea and swap the grocery store aisle for the endless scroll on our phones. The world has changed, from physical shelves to a digital feed. But that core challenge, it's exactly the same. In fact, it's probably been amplified 1,000 times over.
So you've got these two totally different worlds, right? On one side, you have these low-attention environments. You know what I'm talking about. That endless thumb scroll, a video that autoplays with the sound off while you're trying to read something else, or an ad that's buried somewhere at the bottom of a page while you've got 6 other tabs open. An impression might get counted, sure, but did a human being actually see it? Probably not. But then on the other side, you have high-attention environments, a big screen, the sound is on, you're leaned back, you're actually focused. The difference is just, it's night and day.
And this all brings us to one simple, incredibly powerful, and frankly undeniable rule that sits under all of this. Attention drives intention. You just can't have the second one without the first. It's the absolute starting point for everything.
So, if the huge problem we're all facing is this massive lack of attention, where do we even begin to look for a solution? Well, let's talk about an environment that is just naturally designed for higher attention. A place where your message doesn't have to just fight for a half-second glance, but can actually earn a real moment.
We're talking about the good old television screen, especially now in the age of connected TV. I mean, just think about the experience itself. The show, the ad, whatever it is, it fills your whole field of vision. The sound is almost always on. There are way fewer things competing for your focus. It is a dedicated, leaned-back experience where you are just naturally set up to pay attention. Okay, so let's say you've done it. You've picked the right environment. Your message is up there on the biggest screen in the house. You've earned the screen. But, and this is a big but, the job is not done. The next question is probably the most important one. Now what? Because look, just getting your ad on that screen is really only half the battle. This is where the creative, the ad itself, has to do the heavy lifting. Earning that moment of attention is one thing. Holding on to it is a whole different ballgame.
And the stakes here are just incredibly high. Truly great creative gets this. It knows it has just a few precious seconds to prove it's worth your time. It's the critical difference between an ad that actually pulls you in and an ad that's basically just a signal to pick up your phone and start scrolling. We all know that feeling.
So how do you hold on to that attention? It really boils down to 4 key things. First, the first few seconds have to be absolutely impossible to ignore. Second, the visuals need to look like they belong on a big screen, not some tiny phone. Third, you need a story, something that actually hooks the viewer. And finally, it's got to feel relevant. It has to matter to the person watching.
All right, this all brings us to our final and maybe most important point. If we know attention is the way in and great creative is the key that unlocks the door, how do we actually measure if any of this is working? Well, it's time we all move beyond those old misleading vanity metrics.
First off, it is not impressions. An ad that was technically served on a page, but that no human eye ever actually saw, that's completely and utterly worthless.
And nope, it's not frequency either. Showing someone an ad they're already ignoring 10 times doesn't magically make it work. It just makes it an ignored ad that's also really, really annoying.
And it is definitely not some made-up viewability percentage on a report that says you won because, 3 pixels of your ad were on the screen for a second. That's not a human metric. That's a robot metric. So at the end of the day, what's the one metric that actually matters? The only one that truly tells you if you're connecting? It's this: attention. Did a real person actually stop, look, and process what you had to say.
And so here we are, full circle, right back to that foundational truth. Attention is the cause, intention is the effect. This one simple relationship is the engine behind pretty much all marketing that actually works.
So let's just put it all together one last time. When you choose an environment that naturally earns attention, and then you fill that environment with creative that is good enough to sustain that attention, intention is the natural result. And it's intention that actually moves behavior. It's intention that gets the product off the shelf and into the shopping cart.
So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. In this world of just infinite stuff to look at and very finite focus, take a really hard look at what you're putting out there. Is your message truly earning a moment of someone's time? Or is it just another bit of noise fighting for a meaningless swipe?